Well, hello.
Hello,
I'm Allie,
and I'm Melissa.
and this is Liverpool, USA. We're best friends, and this is a best friends podcast.
It sure is.
And today we're talking about advertising, which is a great topic, but also, I mean, we talk about all kinds of stuff on here, but I feel like this is an interesting topic
It is.
because I mean, nobody is like, "Oh, I'm a huge fan of advertising," right?
Yeah, right. I mean, I guess like maybe the people who really benefit from it the most, but and like the people who like that's their career. Like I imagine there's got to be someone out there who's passionate about advertising.
I guess,
But
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess I shouldn't discount something that is lots of people's entire career. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I saw that you put we have this big, Google Doc full of topic ideas. And I think close to the beginning of when we started this, you put something about advertising in that list.
That's very
And
possible. It was possible that I was having like a specific moment thinking about it or something.
yeah. And so ever since you put that in there, I've been kind of eyeing it as a topic and thinking, "Oh yeah, we're going to do that one at some point." And here we are.
Yeah.
So, yeah, in general, how do you feel about advertising? How do you feel about seeing ads?
Mostly negatively.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember taking a class in college, and it was actually like a writing class, but we focused a lot on advertising and not like how to do advertising, but just like the concept of advertising and how it works, which was actually really interesting. And the class wasn't just like specifically about advertising, it was about a lot of, like subliminal messages and, that are spread around, like in society through pictures and, but, movies and media and all that. But specifically, advertising is so huge because a lot of it most people don't even realize is there. And I think that part of that is because advertising has become so just like absolutely everywhere that we've become like largely blind to it a lot, which just makes it worse. So then there's just more and more and more, ads being pushed at us from every single angle, and there's like no escaping it. And I honestly, especially since taking that class and now I can like notice it more often wherever I go, I noticed, ads and advertising more often, and I think it's annoying to
Yeah.
say it shortly. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think I gave away my position in the beginning when I was like, does anybody like
Yeah.
advertising? Because yeah, I feel the same way. I'm kind of like, wow, I wish I could do anything without seeing ads everywhere.
Yeah.
You know? Like you can't even go outside without seeing ads anywhere. You can't do a single thing on the internet without seeing ads everywhere.
Yeah.
You can't I mean, yeah, you can't consume any media without seeing an ad. And like even and this might be something that you talked about in your class, but it's like, even when you are watching like a TV show or something without like commercial breaks, you're still seeing advertising. You're seeing like product placement, and you're seeing like, all of these types of things. And in books and everything too, like there's all kinds of like product placement advertising, or you know things like that. And so it really is inescapable, even if you have ad blockers on, even if you pay for the most premium, you know Hulu subscription where there's like, quote unquote no ads, you're still seeing ads everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good point, and that was something that I was going to bring up because we did, like, of course, talk about that. How in movies, especially, especially like the big blockbusters and movies like Marvel movies, for example, which I haven't honestly seen a lot of, and it isn't because I know that there's a lot of advertising in them. I just kind of haven't. I'm not like a huge movie watcher, but Anyway, but like in those, for example, the purpose of those movies is to sell products. It's because it's a franchise. And so, like, specifically Marvel type movies, like, the purpose of those is to sell toys. And you'll notice in those movies, and I remember watching bits, of like some movies in class and stuff, and I remember specifically Coca-Cola because I think they might be like the company that has been advertising like the most, like they'd have the most advertising of like anyone ever, any brand.
I would totally believe that.
Yeah, yeah, because you don't even notice in like movies, like product placement and ads in movies is like something I feel like a lot of people don't even notice. But when you do notice it, it's like, I don't know, it's kind of weird.
Do you remember? Okay, this is kind of random. Do you remember the drink Earn Brew from England?
No.
It was like fluorescent orange and tasted like cotton candy. It was like in Scotland, specifically in Glasgow, or not Glasgow, in Edinburgh.
I do not remember that.
Okay, we did drink it together, but
maybe I would if I saw it. I don't know. I don't remember that. I remember Ribena because I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyways, it was like one of the days. It was when we were in Edinburgh and we like drank Earn Brew, and it's like really orange, but it doesn't taste like orange. It tastes like cotton candy. But I remember we drank that, and then like a year later, or whatever, the Avengers Endgame movie came out, and I remember watching Avengers Endgame, and Thor drinks Earn Brew.
Oh my god.
And so definitely product placement, but I remember seeing like tweets or something after, because everybody was talking about Avengers Endgame like right when it came out, and I remember somebody saying like, oh, it's canon that Thor drinks Earn Brew.
Oh my god.
And so yeah, like people are talking about the product placement in the movie.
Yeah, like that's the point.
Yeah,
they're trying to get people to notice it and talk about it. Even if it's like subconsciously, like people will see that stuff and then they'll see it in the store, and it's all part of it's a whole scheme. It's a whole thing. Like people who do advertising know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Do
you think that they're necessary in any way? Like, do you think advertisements are necessary in any way, or are they just an evil product of capitalism?
I feel like I really want to say that they're not and they're just purely evil, but I know that it's more complicated than that. Like, it just is. Because, I don't know. And I think a lot of it is just because we live like in a very specific society and culture where it has kind of become like normal, and so that makes it more complicated. Because I don't know, when people argue for advertising, I mean, with small businesses specifically, with people who want to be able to sell product, just like word of mouth isn't always enough for people, to like sell enough of their product. And I think that business, like if you want to own a business and sell stuff, like that's valid, if you want to, and advertising is just a part of that. Like that's just a part of how you get your product out there for people to know about it and buy it. And so I feel like that is kind of complicated. I think that at the point that we've come to, it's become evil. Like a lot of it has become largely an evil concept. But yeah, I think it's more complicated.
Yeah, like, I mean, I was trying to think, when I was thinking about this, I was trying to think about like what are good ads, quote unquote good ads. And I don't know, because I do see ads for things that I like, right? Like, basically everything we ever use and like is advertised in some way by somebody, right? And so there are things that I like and recommend and like think are really good products or really good brands or like whatever. And so do I think it's like evil to see their advertisements? Like, I don't know, in some ways, yes. And then also in some ways I'm like, well, no, I agree. This is a good product. You should use it, or something. And so it's kind of like, well, how do we like discern between like what's a, good ad and what's a bad ad. And it's like, yeah, there's like, you know, brands that are, you know, have really sustainable, good practices, or are making efforts to like, you know, be a good company or donate a lot of their proceeds to like good causes or like, you know, whatever. And so them advertising is them trying to like get more money for, you know, quote unquote, a good cause. And I mean, we could talk more about like if that's actually true, if like any corporation is ever like doing anything good, like I don't know, but
Yeah.
you know, beside the point, right? Like, is there anything that's like, oh yeah, advertising for, you know, for like good things,
Yeah.
does that make it okay? Does that make it good? I don't know.
I feel like part of it might be how intrusive ads can be, maybe could you know, make like an ad you know, more good or bad. Like, you know, having to you know, watch a whole ad before you can like watch a video, or having to like pop-up ads, you know, like websites that are just absolutely inundated with ads. You know, I feel like there are certain levels, but that's also very debatable, you know, is like what is intrusive and what is not.
Yeah.
So that's kind of hard too. Like even billboards, you know, could be argued as just like an eyesore, you know, so it's like what is the non-obtrusive ad, you know, avenue, and I feel like that's kind of difficult as well. I remember when YouTube, like I feel like I witnessed the ad like takeover on YouTube when it used to be just like one ad before you watch the video, and then it turned into like it would like stop like in the middle of the video or like another point in the video and make you watch an ad, and then it turned into like two ads before you watch the video, and now we're at like two ads before you watch the video, and then at like any given point throughout the video it will stop and show you two more ads that you may or may not be able to skip, and it's just like come on.
I know, and
You
sometimes
know?
it like interrupts like in the middle of a
Yeah.
sentence.
Yeah. At any point, just like, here's some more ads. And it's like, no. No.
I
Like
know.
it like
And
definitely we crossed a line somewhere.
like, so you'll be watching some, you know, YouTube video, and there will be, you know, for a 15-minute YouTube video, you will see 5 or 6 ads, like, you know, that YouTube does. But then in the video, they'll be like, okay, now we have to like talk about our sponsor and like, you know,
Oh yeah.
do that too, which is like a
Yeah.
kind of different thing because it's like that money is going directly to a creator making things, but it
Yeah.
is still an advertisement, and that is still like happening, you know? And so it's like you will watch 15 minutes of content and you will see 5 like auto generated ads and also a like directed ad coming from the person like making the video. And yeah, I don't think that that's like wrong of the person or anything who's like making it, but it is also like, okay, yeah, we are seeing like that many ads for 15 minutes, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And there's got to be something, I don't know. And I mean, like I said before, I feel like a lot of people don't even notice anymore the amount of ads, you know? But
Yeah.
it's just started like, and I feel like radio, one of the reasons why radio is failing is, and one of the reasons why I almost never listen to radio stations anymore, me saying this as a person who wants to start a radio show, is
Yeah.
because I feel like the last couple times I tried to listen to the radio, the specific like channels that I listened to, it was just ads the whole time. It's like, what kind of music does this channel even play? Because all they're doing is airing ads, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, I understand that y'all need to make money, but like, come on.
Nobody wants to
There's
listen to
no
that.
content here. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, so I guess maybe yes or maybe no, there is such thing as a good ad. Like, I don't know. Is there like what about an ad for like the like some charity or something that is asking you to donate money? Is that a good ad? Because the money goes towards like a good cause. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, yeah. And I don't know. It's tough because it's like, well, who gets to decide which ads get to be shown? Because it's like, if there were only good ads, like ones for charities and stuff, then like, sure, that would be better. But if it's like just another ad in like the flood of ads, then it's not gonna really matter even what it's for. It's just another, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And which almost makes you think like, maybe it would even be better if you only saw ads that were like targeted. But also at the same time, we're having like a whole thing in our culture and our society right now over targeted ads and people, like technology watching you and stuff like that with the
Yeah.
targeted ads, and how targeted ads can be, because sometimes it is like kind of creepy. And I feel like I learned a little bit about how that works, because from what I've heard, and I don't actually know how this works, but I've heard that like your phone is, your apps aren't like listening to you per se, but your phone like knows like this is what cookies and stuff do on certain websites and whatever, and your social media permissions that you might not even know that you gave them permission for, like everything that you do on your phone, a lot of things are connected under the same account, all that stuff. And so it like knows everything that you're like googling and searching for and looking at, and the links you click on and all this stuff. And then so it will show you ads, like based on those things. And then I also learned that if you're in the same like general vicinity as like someone else, like a family member or whatever, then you'll start getting ads for like things that they're looking at on their phone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all like very specific, like they do that on purpose.
Yeah.
To show you things. So like, oh, this person was looking at this. I mean, you don't know that they were looking at it maybe, or maybe they talked about it and they looked at it and that they like it, to like maybe like get you to buy it for them as a gift, get you to buy it for yourself. Like this is all very specific, and I can see how, because I remember seeing a video of a guy who, or maybe it wasn't a video, but it was some guy, that worked for some social media or whatever. And he was basically like trying to convince people that like letting the social media app do like targeted ads, and was arguing that it was like good for you, like trying to convince people that that was a really good thing that you wanted to do. And I thought that was so odd, because
Yeah.
I don't know, because like on one hand it's like, oh, maybe it would be better if you only saw ads for things that you liked or were useful to you, but at the same time we don't like it when we let all these apps look at everything that we're doing, because it does feel weird, it does feel like very invasive, even if they're not actually listening to you, but essentially they
Yeah.
are, because they're seeing everything that you're doing on your phone, and we do everything on our phone these days. So I don't know, I feel like I'm like talking in circles and like just kind
Yeah.
of going off, but it's it's all like
Yeah.
very interesting to just kind of think about.
Yeah. Has an ad, ever gotten you to buy something? Like you just see an ad for something and you're like, oh, I do need that. I do want that. And then you just get it. Like not like you see an ad for something you already know about and then you buy it, but like, you have no idea this thing exists and then you see an ad for it and you're like, oh my God, yes. And then you buy it. Has that ever happened to you?
I cannot think of a time that has happened to me, so I want to say no. I've seen ads for things, mainly clothes, but that's a lot
Yeah.
of what I look at, so like I get why I would get lots of ads for clothes. That like that's like particular clothing item I didn't know existed, and then I think like maybe a couple, like once or twice I've bought a clothing item that I've seen in an ad first, but you know what? I don't know if there's like a new thing that I hadn't heard of and I saw it in an advertisement. I don't know.
I think clothes that you didn't know existed and then you see them in an ad. Or like if it's like, an ad for like a brand that you've never heard of, but you like just see their clothes and then you're like, oh, I should like check that out or like buy that or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that has happened.
Yeah, I think same with like clothes or something like that. That will get me to. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I've seen in an ad that I've like bought.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
think
know.
so. I don't think so. But
Yeah.
I'm sure there is that I like don't even know about, like you were
Right?
saying. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, right? And another thing, because I'm just kind of like thinking of more things now, just like analyzing this. But
yeah.
another thing I thought of is like, because I was saying how, maybe like in the, time that we live in right now, like ads are kind of necessary because how else would you know about certain things? But I think also part of that is because we live in a culture of like consumerism, and it's very, it's very the hot thing to have like the most updated, like phone, and have the biggest newest TV and the shiniest newest car, and like every time there's, an update on anything, it's like, you have to have it. And I've seen people who are like this that obviously don't realize it, but are very much like, they want it because their neighbor has it type of thing, which is
Yeah.
what ads are like preying on. They're like, you need to buy this stuff, like you're making money so that you can purchase this stuff, and that's like the whole concept behind it. But I feel like if we lived in a society where we valued like the essentials and didn't have this like, you know, bug of consumerism, then maybe we wouldn't need advertising, because you'd like go to the store and you'd be like, I need, shampoo, and you go to the shampoo aisle and like get shampoo and like toilet paper and like bananas. You're like, if we lived in a world of essentials, you'd need little to no advertising. But we live in a world of like, where we want way more than just the essentials, and I feel like that makes it, more like more susceptible to ads.
Yeah. So, like, I guess this is kind of getting into like branding. So,
Yeah.
you know, it used to be that we didn't need to have advertising because there was only one type of shampoo to buy anyways.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, I need shampoo, and then you get it and that's it. But now there's like 50 million types of shampoo. So like, how do you know which one to get unless you've seen advertisements that tell you which one to get?
That's true, which is also kind of messed up because all of those shampoos are still owned by like the same three companies
Yeah.
and are like pretty much essentially the same. So that's another just like way to complicate it even more. But that's
Yeah.
true, and that's another thing that I feel like might be difficult if you just relied like on only word of mouth for your advertising, because it's like if you have this brand new product that's a shampoo but there's like 50,000 other shampoos, like, how are you supposed to get people to know about it? Like it
Yeah.
would spread a lot slower, you know. Yeah.
Do you care about branding? Like when you shop or consume things, are you a brand conscious person?
I think in some instances I am. Like I can't say that I'm not, because I really don't think that I am not like at all. Um, like like there's a clothing website that I like, and I know that they hold multiple brands, and I know that there's like a few specific brands that I like their clothes, but and I do gosh, I'm trying to think of a way that, cuz I'm more like I'm like an advert. I'm like a walking billboard for bands because I wear like mostly band T-shirts. But I
Yeah.
think that's like kind of a brand, but also not. Like I think it's similar, but also not. Um,
Yeah.
I think that like the first thing I can think of where I like have purposefully worn like brands and picked brands out of others is like in skateboarding. I feel like skateboarding is like a very brand loyal culture, because there's
Hmm.
different brands of boards, trucks, wheels, shoes. And so, oh yeah, so that will lead me to like I I enjoy Vans,
Yeah.
specifically like that brand of shoe I will
Yeah.
buy, and I'm pretty loyal to Vans and Doc Martens. Like Vans
Yeah.
and Doc Martens, I love those brands. And I would even say that I would be hesitant to purchase a different brand of leather boot, because like I know Doc Martens' reputation. I've had them, like,
Yeah.
so, and they, through advertising, through culture, but also arguably through advertising mostly, they have like developed an image, and that image is attractive to me, and so therefore I wear Doc Martens. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I guess yeah, I do have brand loyalty, but um I don't know if I'm like a huge victim of like brand loyalty though. I know that there are people out there like I'm not getting like Louis Vuitton tattooed on my face. I saw that
Right.
recently.
Oh
But
no.
yeah, like something like that. Like that's
Yeah.
I think that's a little much. I try to not be too, like plaster too many brands on my body. Um
Yeah.
but
What
yeah,
about like with
what about you? Do you have any
Yeah,
brand
I mean, I
loyalty?
would say I'm like decently brand loyal, I think. And that doesn't mean that I like um I don't know. That doesn't mean that I'm like, oh, I would simply never do anything except support this brand, right? Like, there's always flexibility in that, and there's always room for bigger and better things, I guess, like if something better comes along, like whatever. But I think, yeah, in general, I'm pretty brand loyal. Like same with you in terms of like clothing and shoes and stuff. I'm usually pretty, once I find a brand that I like, I'm going to stick with that. Um, because I know that the quality's good. I know that the ethics are good, or at least as good as they can be, or, whatever. And then I think like an interesting question is like, what about food? Like, are you brand loyal when you like grocery shop?
No, I don't think I am. I don't think
Oh,
I am. Yeah. Like I mean, if I think about the things that I typically buy, the only thing that I am brand loyal on, and I think that I can say this for sure, because I will buy like whatever milk, although it's usually the same one. Usually
right.
whichever's cheapest, to be honest.
Yeah.
Milk, like, I mean, what even else? Like cereal, I don't care what brand the cereal is. I like
Yeah.
cereals that are yummy. But,
Yeah.
um, my bagels. I'm very specific. I buy the same bagels every time because I think that they are the best and I will only buy those. But everything else, I feel like there isn't really something that I'm super like, I want to buy multiple products under this brand because I trust this brand. I don't think
Mm.
so in terms of food.
Um, I there's some stuff that I am, but it's mostly because like the gluten-free thing, that I think you kind of have to
Yeah,
be
yeah, that
like a
makes
little
sense
bit more
actually.
like, because some gluten-free stuff is nasty. So you really have to be like, okay, this brand knows how to make gluten-free stuff that doesn't taste bad. So even if I haven't had their like pizza crust, I would assume that it's going to be like the
Yeah,
best choice, you know what I mean?
yeah, that makes sense.
So I think with like some things like that, I'm much more of a, and this also could be a conversation about advertising, I think, but I'm the type of person that will buy like organic stuff and like, um, stuff that's kind of marketed as like, you know, a better quality of some kind. And I think some of it is better quality. And I think also some of it might be like advertising.
Yeah. Yeah, because another thing with advertising that I think kind of stems from that is things that could be like people will just like make stuff up that's maybe it's true about the
Yeah.
product and they'll be like, "Oh, it has this." And they'll put little sparkles around it and it makes your brain think like, "Oh, that must be a good thing that it has that because it has little sparkles around it." But it's like not necessarily better than, the competing brand or whatever just because they
Yeah.
like highlight it. Yeah, I think that's another way of like
Yeah.
advertising manipulation.
Yeah, I had a phase in my life where I cared a lot about that kind of thing, and I looked a lot into it, and I kind of found out what stuff is doesn't mean anything and what stuff, has some like legal consequence. Like if you put this on there, then the USDA like make sure that it means this thing or whatever.
Oh, that's good. It's
Um
a really good thing to do that, to like research what things might mean and to actually like look into what you're buying before you buy it. That's a really
yeah,
good thing to practice.
like with eggs, I think if it says like cage free eggs, like that literally doesn't mean anything. Like there's anybody can say that their eggs are cage free basically. But if it says that they're pasture raised eggs, then that actually means like what you would think cage free means.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see? Something like that. That's like good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's like, every single carton of eggs says like cage free eggs. because they want you to think, oh, cage free, that's great, that means the chickens are like being taken care of, and that's so good. But it's like that actually doesn't mean anything. Like that's simply advertising, like false advertising even. But yeah, like the legal term that you have to use, or that like you can't use unless it's actually true, is pasture raised. Like if you put pasture raised on your eggs, you actually have to like adhere to some standard about like, you know, having a nice farm or something.
Interesting. Having yeah. Being nice to the chickens.
Yeah. So yeah, but I don't know. I mean, it definitely is advertising though, and I think that is advertising that has worked on me in the past and maybe still does. I don't know. I mean, some stuff I try and be more conscious about, but I am always the type to like buy it in the like greener packaging or whatever, you know, and think that that's better. And I don't know if it is, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I think for me, most of the time, it's like whatever's less expensive, because that's just where I'm at. But
Yeah, that's valid. That
yeah,
is fair. I mean,
yeah,
I do that too with some things, and then other things that I
yeah,
perceive to be more like, I don't know. I think it's all kind of relative. I don't know. Like
yeah,
depends on like what you think is important, and then also like how much the advertising is working on you to make you think that it's important. You know, because it's like, is it actually important? Like I don't even know. You know,
yeah, yeah. That's true. That's
but
true.
so I guess that is a great segue into what do you think about advertising versus propaganda? Where's the line?
Well, let me just for purposes of like, I want to know exactly um what to say and like how to think. I'm looking up the definition of propaganda, which
Okay.
Google says is information, especially of a biased or misleading nature, used to promote or publicize a particular political cause or point of view. I think
Okay.
that back to like Marvel movies, which is also, one thing that I have not consumed a lot of, but that I have heard has a lot of political propaganda. I don't
Yeah.
actually know, but maybe it does.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like a lot of that could be really subtle. It could be really like obvious, but I feel like there's probably a lot of subtle propaganda that like we don't even notice in branding.
Totally.
For things that it would
Totally.
be like, oh, it's odd that my cereal has propaganda on it. But like, honestly, if I figured out that a cereal had, I don't even really think I would be that surprised. Seeing as
Yeah.
how much there's propaganda, both obvious and very, very not obvious in like journalism, in that kind of media and like news media, is fraught with propaganda.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I feel like that can be really hard sometimes.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of propaganda everywhere because it's really hard to, you know, divorce yourself from your political ideologies. Whether I agree with your political ideologies or not, I think, you know, anybody talking about anything is influenced by what their ideologies are, you know. And so yeah, I mean, I think most advertising has some kind of underlying propaganda. I think most everything has some kind of underlying propaganda. It's just advertising has like the biggest audience, you know. And like other media forms, you know, like movies and TV and books and news and, you know, YouTube videos. Like they all have huge audiences, and so advertising and propaganda are going to be kind of like hand in hand, I think, in
Yeah,
any of
yeah.
those.
And I think especially like if you look back at older ads, like old advertising, I feel
Yeah.
like then it can become kind of obvious. It's like, "Oh, what presidential era were we in when this ad
Right.
was advertised, was like shown?"
Totally.
'Cause
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Oh man, I wish I
Yeah.
could think of something because I feel like it's definitely constantly happening.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
I used to I don't know. I used to be a vegan, and that's a topic for another day. But I used to get really upset about got milk ads.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, because it's like one of the
It's
most
everywhere.
got milk and just do it are like the two most popular slogans, which is a form of, marketing advertising of
Yeah.
like literally all time. I remember learning, of course I don't remember, but in that class I was talking about, I learned where the got milk slogan came from
Oh
because
yeah.
they like did not expect it to get that big. And there were people that
Yeah.
actually thought it was like stupid at first, which I feel like you're going to say you probably thought it was stupid. Because it kind of is, it's like it's not grammatically correct, and then it like took off, and it's huge, and it's still people know what it is.
Well, I used to get really upset about the got milk ads, not really because of the slogan, although yeah, I think it is a little bit silly, but no, I used to get really upset about the got milk ads because I called it milk propaganda because I thought milk was like morally wrong. Like as a vegan.
Mm-hmm.
And in some ways, I mean, I think we both agree that like there are a lot of issues with like big dairy, like there can be a lot of issues with huge factory farms, like, that produce dairy. My perspective on like milk as a whole has changed in the last 5 years, but when I was at the peak of my vegan way of life, I guess, I really, really thought that all milk was really, really evil. And I was like, this hurts the cows, it hurts the baby cows. It's so bad for the environment, like all of this stuff. And it's so wrong that in order to like trick people into keeping drinking milk, they have to like do all this milk propaganda and like have all these advertisements to like get people to drink milk, because if they really think about it, it's like evil and bad and horrible. So they have to like shove all this milk propaganda down everyone's throats and like make it seem so fun to drink milk and like make it silly and make it seem like it's so healthy to drink milk and like all this stuff.
Yeah. That's like, I can see where that's coming from, because if I think about it, like, was got milk even for any specific brand? Like, is it really just advertising for milk like, that does seem a little bit odd.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of get where you're coming, where you were coming from with that.
Yeah, and I mean, I still have that opinion a little bit. I think it's a lot more, I have more nuance to that opinion now. Because I mean, I'm not a vegan anymore. Like, I do drink milk. So, I don't have that opinion all the way anymore. But I do still like, kind of think, because there's advertisements like that for beef as well and for pork as well, and it's not got beef, but it's like
yeah,
it's like some advertisement about how like beef is a really important like part of your diet, like you better eat it, because more and more people are choosing not to eat beef anymore. And so they the huge factory farmers are like losing business, they're losing revenue, and so they make this like beef propaganda.
Sorry, beef propaganda.
I know. And yeah, it's not for like a specific brand, it's for beef as a product. You should have it, because more and more people are like becoming vegetarians or just like stopping eating beef, and like people don't drink cow's milk as much anymore because people drink the dairy alternatives. And so yeah, I used to get really upset and call it milk propaganda, and I do think that, I mean, again, like my opinion has subdued a little bit from there, but I do still think that it is milk propaganda. Like, that is still kind of what's happening. It's not really advertising, it's a lot more propaganda-y than it is advertising-y.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. Yeah.
Do you have any other thoughts about advertising?
Oh, I feel like I got a lot of my rants out here.
I want
to. It's a lot to unpack, especially.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Because it influences like thought processes and relationships and a lot more than I think a lot of people really think it does. And it just does, because it's everywhere,
Yeah.
And the aim is to is to affect people's thoughts. You know, like that's the
Yeah.
purpose, is they want to change or alter the way you think so that you will purchase their product. Like that is
And
the
that is
point.
kind of scary. That does
Yeah.
feel really invasive and scary.
Yeah.
And like to think that that can be happening to you and you have no choice in the matter, you know?
Yeah, you have like absolutely no idea. And some things can be more scary than others. You
Yeah.
know, like there could be like if I saw an advertisement for like chocolate that was really yummy. You know, like I don't think that that's fundamentally changing the way that I think about things. It just makes
You
me want
already
chocolate.
think chocolate is
Yeah.
yummy.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, like especially specifically, and we don't even have to get into this. Of course, like this could be a whole different topic, but like the beauty industry and
Yeah.
advertising in that industry, like specifically, you know, makeup for women and even
Yeah.
clothing, you know, and stuff like that is very like molding thought
Harmful.
processes in entire
Yeah.
generations. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. In a harmful way. Like not even just
Yeah.
changing thought processes, but like in a specifically harmful way. Yeah. We should talk about the beauty industry on a different episode because that I have a lot to say about that.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
but I want to like tell you this little anecdote because I meant to bring it up earlier. But I have you ever been to the Newark airport? Did you fly through the Newark airport when you went to England?
No, I have never even been in a plane on the East Coast because that's Newark
Okay.
is New Jersey.
Yeah.
I flew all the way over to Amsterdam and then back to
Oh, that's
England.
right. That's right.
So, yeah. Yeah.
So when I flew back and forth from England, I went through the Newark, New Jersey airport both times, and then I've been in it again, and I think it was when I went to Budapest as well.
Mm.
I flew through the Newark, New Jersey airport. My least favorite airport of all time. I hate it so much, and it's specifically because that airport, every single surface in that airport is covered in screens that play advertisements.
Oh, wow.
It is a hellscape. So you like when you sit down at a restaurant in like the airport, or you like sit down at a table in like the waiting area or whatever, you know, instead of like a table where you can like eat your food, there will be like little iPads glued to the table that you like can't move. They're just like there. And then every single wall is like plastered in screens. When you want to order something or buy something from the little convenience store or whatever, there's nobody there. There's no people working. You have to do it on an iPad, and they're like showing you advertisements the whole time.
Oh my God.
It is
That's kind of terrifying.
horrendous and terrifying, and like it's the worst.
Oh my gosh.
There are screens absolutely everywhere in that airport, and showing advertisements the entire time. And that was one of the first times that I had been like, you know, when you're flying and everything too, and both times, or at least twice when I did that, or 3 times, I don't know. I think I've been in that airport 4 times, and
oh wow.
like 3 out of the 4 times I was by myself in the airport, you know. And and I'm flying back and forth from Europe and back, so it's like a huge long travel day. And I remember being in that airport, being so tired, being so like stressed out about getting where I need to go or whatever, you know, and being like inundated with advertisements like that.
God.
And that was the first time that I really was like, oh, advertising is like evil. Like this is
this
some,
is
like,
evil.
This is some like
Yeah.
wild stuff going on right here.
Oh
like
my
the
gosh.
fact that I just like cannot eat, like I am just like forced to sit here and like be around this for like hours. And like I there's nowhere I can go.
Wow.
And like I cannot even like eat my food without like doing this, you know? And yeah, so the Newark, New Jersey airport, I think, is like one of the like most hellish places in terms of advertising that I've ever like witnessed in my entire life.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever experienced something specifically like that. Like that's awful. Points
It
lost
was,
for New Jersey.
and you know what? I don't know that they had a lot to start with. So
Well, they're the home state of My Chemical Romance, so that gives them some
okay,
points.
that gives them something back. I'll give
Yeah.
them that. Well,
But anyway, okay. Okay. Is there anything else we want to say about advertising? I don't know. I feel like I've ranted my little heart out. We can move
me
on
too.
to a Chuckman question if you would like.
Okay. Um. Okay. This is. I can already tell this one's gonna be weird. They're so long that I can't like read it all before I like start.
Yeah,
talking.
you can't like scan it.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that this is gonna be a crazy one. So, buckle in.
Okay, as
Here we go.
expected.
You are kidnapped by a diabolical but completely honest madman. He locks you in an empty attic where the temperature is 100 degrees. Your feet and hands are tied together. There is no food and no water. After 24 excruciating hours, the madman opens the attic door and enters with 3 glasses of ice water on a serving tray. He takes an eyedropper and squirts a colorless, odorless liquid into one of the glasses. This is poison, he tells you, then blindfolds you. When he removes the blindfold 30 seconds later, there is a drinking straw in each of the water glasses, but you have no idea which glass contains the poison. Feel free to have a refreshing sip of water, he says. Of course, if you select the glass that contains the poison, you will be dead within 90 minutes. And just so you know, I promise to release you from this attic in 48 hours. Then he laughs maniacally and exits the attic, locking the door behind him. What do? Do you gamble and drink, or do you try and wait out the madman?
I have more questions.
Okay.
I have more questions than answers. My first one is are my hands and feet tied like all together, or are just like my hands and feet tied separately but together?
I think they're separately. So, like, your hands are tied together and then your feet are tied together, but you're like sitting down.
You're not like hog tied.
No.
Okay. And then what was my next question? Oh, so is that 48 additional hours? So like you're already in there for 24.
Yeah, and then I think it's 48 more hours.
Would you die?
You might.
You cannot go very long without drinking water.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you could like try and drink your pee or something.
That doesn't it doesn't work. Don't do that.
Oh my God.
It doesn't. Even if you like do the filter thing, it's not a good idea. Anyway, that's a different.
What if you just, because he said it's like ice cold water, right?
Yeah.
Ice water. Honest. Okay. What if you just like lick all the like condensation off the outside of the glass?
Oh,
like, there's no
you know
poison
what?
in there.
Yeah, yeah. And I was just also gonna say, I wonder if it would be better if you like took ice cubes out of the water and like ate the ice cubes.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Like if that would make it a little bit better and like a little bit more safe. But
maybe,
it's like
yeah.
also how strong is the poison? Like if I chose to drink, I mean at this point 24 hours, you've been kidnapped by a stranger and you're in like an attic and you're tied up and you can't do anything. Like I would be almost okay with dying at that point. I just have to be realistic about this. If I was in that situation, that would be so miserable, like unimaginably miserable, that it's like, would I even want to live after that? After whatever, after like that trauma. I mean, of course, it could be worse. Like if there could be worse stuff happening to you. Like actively tortured. I don't know. I mean, that is torture. But anyway, I don't know. I feel like I would try the licking the off the outside is a really good idea. And then
I don't know if that's like enough to get you through, like, although glasses sweat a lot. Like if you lick it and then you wait a little bit longer, there's gonna be more.
Especially if it's warm out, right? Because it'll be like melt.
Yeah.
And then I feel like I would maybe try the ice thing, or like what if I just drank like a little bit, like a
Like the
tiny,
tiniest little
yeah,
sip.
like just like one little sip. I mean, I feel like you'd have to drink more than like one tiny sip to like survive, maybe. But like the smallest amount that I feel like I possibly could.
And then if
How
you feel
strong is yeah, if you
nothing,
feel nothing, like how strong is this
then
poison?
maybe that glass is clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like if you take like the tiniest sip, like the tiniest little sip, and then you wait and you see if you feel like a little bit sick, or like if you get like a stomach ache, or like you throw up or
Yeah.
something. And then if you don't, then like maybe you know that glass is like fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because it's like, how strong is this poison? You know, be more specific. Like, is it going to kill me no
Yeah.
matter how much I consume, or do I have to drink like the entire glass of water?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I would probably at least try and make it like another 20. I would lick the outside of the glass because I feel like that is like guaranteed to like not harm
Yeah.
me. But then I would like try and make it through another 24 and then like kind of reassess and be like, okay, am I going to make like, because it says that he's completely honest. So it's like, okay, am I going to make it another 24? Like, am I going to die either way? Because like
Yeah.
dying from dehydration versus dying in 90 minutes from poison, like those are two different levels of suffering.
Yeah.
So, if I was like, I'm gonna die either way, like I might as well just like, kill myself basically.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But if I'm like, no, I could make it. Like I'm gonna be dehydrated. I'm gonna have to go to the hospital and like, get help like as soon as I'm out of here. But like I'm gonna make it another 24 hours.
Yeah.
Then I would just like do that.
Yeah. I wonder if you could now I've begun, as I feel like I always do towards the end of us answering the question, overanalyzing it. So after he takes off the blindfold, he has allegedly just possibly moved these cups around. And I feel like if the glasses have moisture, you can like look at the tray and you could see like the marks of if he like moved the cups around, and if he didn't move them around at all. Like if there's no other marks on the tray, then I feel like you could almost assume, unless he like picked them up to move them, but still, if there was maybe, like no marks of movement, that would make it easier. But I don't know. I probably would not be in my right mind if I was 24 hours out from anything but 100-degree attic.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I do not think I would respond well in that amount of like pressure.
No.
Just not at all.
Yeah.
Well. Thanks, Chuck.
Yep.
Anyways, I guess that's all for today.
Yeah. Had some good rants today.
Yeah, we did. This was good.
Yeah.
So, until next time, I love you.
I love you too.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.